Hey there, and welcome to Large Format Friday. I'm your host, Matt Marrash. If this is the first time you're stopping by the channel, there's a playlist of our entire third season of LFF. And if you haven't subscribed yet, each and every Friday, we're gonna be here and we're gonna be talking about something large format. Honestly guys, I'm still coming down off of the high that was last week's trip down to Hocking Hills. I haven't had a shoot or a day like that down in Hocking Hills in the better part of a decade. It really was a truly special thing. I'm so excited that I got down there to experience it and to share some of the process along the way with you guys. Thanks for all the awesome responses, comments, questions. Keep them coming. And actually, that's why we're here today. I got a really good comment on last week's video. I have a question. I'm curious as to why you shoot primarily black and white. I figure a place like Hocking Hills would look amazing in color. So is this a personal choice? Cost effective? Something else? All of the above? Well, Tyler, thank you so much for the question. That's an excellent one. And I summed it up quickly in the comments by saying it's a little bit of everything. But the truth is, the bulk of my experience with film photography is a majority black and white. I've shot thousands more exposures with black and white film than I have with color film. I just don't have the same oomph. The photographs I take with color, it's not how I see. I just don't have that same working experience that I do with black and white. And that's okay. I find black and white materials to be more cost effective, better to learn on, and for me personally, I can express things like feeling a little bit easier with black and white. Some of the abstracting nature of large format with the movements, different fields of view and perspective, coupled with the lack of saturation, the lack of hue and color tone, just gives us a way to abstract a scene in a way that color usually can't without going to really crazy extremes. And yeah, the price of the film doesn't hurt either. Black and white films are on average a third to a quarter of the price of color films. That's a lot more shooting. And by the time you scale up to something larger than 4x5, especially 8x10, yeah, there becomes that pressure. I would be lying if I said I didn't feel the pressure of shooting in a single 8x10 sheet of color. I think every photographer needs to shoot enough of all the films to figure out what they like the most. Even amongst black and white, there's different types of films that I don't see with the same way. And some of that comes down to just volume of shooting. How much have you worked with this? Do you know the ins and outs, the perfect developer combination for your materials? To learn more about testing your own unique film materials, check out this episode just a few weeks back for testing your own black and white film. But it all comes down to process and preference. When it comes to black and white, the biggest thing that we have as photographers as our main tool is contrast. That's kind of the cool thing about black and white, in my opinion, is we have complete control over the contrast range in the image. And because I process my film and scan my film and print my film myself, I have a little bit more start to finish control. And when you're getting started, that control just feels like a whole mess of things to worry about, and it is. But once you get that down and you get comfortable with that process, you feel like you have more control. And that can be good or bad. When it's all on you, you're the only person to blame when something goes bad. You can't say, oh, my lab screwed this up. But black and white, it's all about contrast, all that punch and oomph. And it wasn't until I took a workshop with Alan Ross quite a few years ago that he mentioned something that really struck a chord with me. The exposures look good, the technique is good, but does the photograph have a feeling? Does it say something? Is there something that you're trying to say with this photograph that I wouldn't ordinarily see myself? That's what we have to think about when we're taking any picture, but I think black and white for me expresses that the best. I can take a mood that I'm feeling and use those creative tools in black and white, the film, developer, exposure, filtration, all that yada yada, to turn it into something that is uniquely me and says not just what's in front of the camera, but comes across maybe with a mood or a feeling. And that can be different from viewer to viewer, but ultimately that mood is up to you. And that's what I love about black and white. Now when it comes to color, there are some unique considerations there that aren't just price. Color film is typically daylight balanced, and the kind of light that you're shooting in may require certain types of filtration to get that white balance back to where it needs to be. I find when I'm shooting in places like Hocking Hills where there's lots of green reflectance and lower diffused ambient light, it can be really tricky to arrive at the correct filtration at any given scene. And I've tried shooting it without a filter, and just the different greens and blues that come into the scene, They're cool at first, but then once you want them to go away and you don't filter it, it can be really, really hard. So that's another consideration of black and white versus color. The addition of filters, the subtraction of filters, and don't worry, we're gonna keep hammering on about filters on and on in the future here at LFF. So thank you again so much, Tyler, for that question. It was a really good one, got the juices flowing, and had me really questioning, yeah, why is it that I like black and white? And it comes down to me for contrast, feeling, and the personal touches and the process that I can add to it. Sometimes that is messing up versus what I could do with digital, but nonetheless, that's why I love black and white. So speaking of black and white, a bit of great news for us large format and ultra large format shooters. This year's Ilford ULF special order program is confirmed on. I got an email from the Ilford distributor here in the USA with all the information of availability on the different films. So the Ilford ULF special order program is a way to order in those sizes that aren't typically made except once a year during this special program. The emulsions available this year are going to be Delta 100 and then a larger selection of FP4 Plus and HP5 Plus. I'm going to run a list down the side here of everything that is going to be currently available, what emulsion, how many sheets, and if there's a minimum order quantity. I can't share any of the pricing stuff. If you want more information on that, you're going to have to contact one of the participating dealers. I'll drop a link in the description below to more information on the ULF program direct from Ilford. So I've got two more quick pieces of news for you guys. The first of which, thank you so much to our LFF sustaining members. We've been into the program a little over a month now and things have been going great. If you would have told me a year and a half ago that I would be talking to a large audience worldwide about large format photography and that folks would actually see value in it, I would tell you you're absolutely crazy. But now here we are, and thank you so much to everybody who has chosen to support the channel on a monthly basis. To find out more, you can head to marrash.com/memberships or marrash.com/donate for more information on becoming a sustaining member. I try to do as much as I can to give back to the large format community, and I thank everybody who's chosen to give to the channel. In the essence of giving back, last month's large format live was such a success, we're going to do it again this month. So on Sunday, June 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be up here at 400 West Rich doing another edition of large format live. We're going to get back to some alternative process printing, and we'll be doing the classic large format live Q&A. So come ready with your questions, and for those long form questions, you can always feel free to shoot me an email, largeformatquestions@gmail.com. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll catch you next week for more LFF.